Good morning on this thankful Thursday. Hello, everybody out there. Hello, hello, hello. My name is Dailies. I'm getting ready to read from everything. It's kind of upside down. Everything happens for a reason. Last Thursday, we talked about welcome to the cosmic kindergarten. We talked about nature's classroom and the kindergarten time of life. I'm going to reread that to review some things here. Don't want to see my kitchen. It's cleaned up. Once I discovered the 10 reasons for the events in our lives, I had to find a way to make sense of what I was holding in my hands. Let me find my glasses. No, hey, gotta look like Miss Peabody. Holding in my hands, I trusted people. I knew that since these were the reasons people came up with, they were the real reasons. But where did these reasons come from? My first step in making sense of this came when I finally figured something out. I'd been attached to the idea that the universe was a place of random accidents, but I totally rejected what I thought was the only alternative, the idea of God as a puppet master, someone looming above us, controlling every little thing that happens, someone directly responsible for the car crash that killed your brother, your grandma's cancer, last week's plane crash, and the death of 6 million people in the Holocaust. I refuse to believe that God could be this kind of puppet master. God's not a puppet master. I can't even imagine that would deliberately harm. Imagine a God that would deliberately harm one hair on the head of one little baby. No cosmic plan could possibly be worth that. 10,000s of people don't die in an earthquake. So I can wake up to the fact that life is something that needs to be severed. Or even so that everyone in the world can wake up to this fact. How then do we make sense of the seemingly incontrovertible fact that everything happens for a reason? How? The idea that God as a puppet master? That's a lot to think about. Nature's classroom. Whenever I'm confused, I turn to nature. It seems to ground me. If you ever watch my videos, I go grounding. I take my socks and my shoes off and I walk in the grass and I look to the sun and feel the breeze across my body. When I think I understand how the natural world works, if I feel I have a key to understanding how the cosmos works. If anything about nature is true at all, it's that the natural world is a place of learning. Okay, maybe rocks don't learn, but plants and animals do. That's the whole point of everything we've learned about evolution. A species of living things, a rose, a bee, a cactus, a camel, is a lesson learned in the face of a tough environment. It exists because some earlier species faced a challenge and learned in the sense of finding a new way to be. From the point of view of a gazelle, the reason why lions are fast is to make us gazelles faster. The reason, and the faster I get, the closer I get to my true gazellianness. If I'm a camel, deserts are hot and dry. To give me my humps, in fact, to give me a purpose in life. Ugly creature that I am, a camel. In nature, adapting or learning is the name of the game. Well, we humans are part of nature, but we have an extra added attraction. We don't need to become a new species to learn the lessons that are taught us by our tough environments. If something happens to me, and if I learn from it, then I instantly become a new species of me. I've experienced a form of mini evolution within myself. A lower form of me has evolved into slightly higher form of me. Next topic, the kindergarten time of life. In our human corner of natural world, learning for us is also the name of the game. And since you and I have so much to learn, I think of human life as a kind of kindergarten. After all, it's in the kindergarten time of our lives that we get the sense in the deepest part of our being that everything happens for a reason. You fell down, so you learned to look where you were going. Your friend moved away, and you learned that you can make new friends. In the most childhood and in the happy part of all childhoods, life gleams with meaning, and we all hope this will never stop. Welcome to Cosmic Kindergarten. Shins are bruised, tears are shed, moods get blue, but this is the kind of kindergarten you never leave, nor do you ever really want to. Valuable lessons are always being learned, and there are endless wonderful gifts waiting for us, especially as a result of the tough breaks we have to deal with. Maybe at your office, the bastards really are out to get you, but the universe itself is a nicer neighborhood. For people who are willing to learn, life is ultimately a nurturing place, and the learning, and this learning gives meaning to our lives. Here's an example for challenging the old racist regimen. Nelson Mandela, the first Black president of South Africa, spent most of his adult life in prison. That's a big blow. After they could easily spend the rest of your days filled with bitterness and regret. But that's not how Mandela saw it. Sure, he condemned the political system that put him in prison, and he certainly would have preferred to have been free the whole time. But he saw his prison years as a tremendous opportunity. He was able to grow and learn. Excuse me. He found a voice. He gained enormous stature in the fight for his cause. The world not only listened to him, but revered him in a way that never would have happened otherwise. Mandela understood in his bones that everything happens for a reason. He saw that the reason was so he could develop an inner wisdom he wouldn't have found otherwise. This became the foundation of everything he was to accomplish. If the steel of Mandela hadn't been hardened in the forge of prison, who knows if he would have been able to be so wise and effective when his time came to govern. Cosmic Kindergarten sent Mandela to prison. It gave me a messed up childhood. Who knows what it's had in store for you? In fact, Cosmic Kindergarten works in thousands of ways, large and small, super subtle and incredibly obvious. It is quite simply life. But if we can view life as our own personal design, Cosmic Kindergarten, it gives you a reason to feel hopeful and much safer. You know, believe that. For people who are willing to learn, life is ultimately a nurturing place, and this learning gives meaning to our lives. Next chapter, the spiritual side of Cosmic Kindergarten. It is very It has very much helped me accept the idea that we live in a cosmic kindergarten. When I saw that this concept lay near the heart of spirituality in all its manifestation. For example, there's a large movement in America today of people seeking spiritual understanding outside of organized religion. Spirituality today is a kaleidoscope of hopes and perceptions. But if there's any thread running through the incredible variety, it's a belief in a universe connectedness, meaning, and hope. Too often, this belief is too vague to provide enough substance, but the idea of cosmic kindergarten nails it down. The things that happen to us getting from the Pacific ways, they're connected to our personal growth. And so we're never lost. We're always in the process of becoming found. And although they don't call it that, cosmic kindergarten is an insight reached by most great religions of the world. For all their differences, Hinduism, Jews, Baptists, Buddhists, Methodists, Muslim, Catholics, and Congregationalists all see the universe as designed to help you grow. Excuse me. Help you grow, to help you become more yourself and better you, while at the same time getting more of what you need so your life works better. Excuse me. Christians today don't subscribe so much. Excuse me. To the old-fashioned idea of providence. That's the puppet master's view of God. What many Christians focus on in the view of the world as full of opportunities for grace. Something bad happened. God didn't make it happen, but there it is. And there we are, bruised and hurt. Then God's grace reaches out and makes some kind of healing happen. As Paul says in his letter to the Romans 8:28, we know that in everything God works for good. Read any Flannery O'Connor's wonderful story to see this illustrated. But grace usually goes beyond the fact that the pain eventually goes away. Grace, in the best of circumstances, takes the form of lessons or opportunities. And these are just the ones I've uncovered as the 10 reasons why things happen to us. There you are, hurting. God reaches out and gives you a free gift of himself, a gift that helps you grow. What's more, it helps you grow towards becoming more authentically who you really are, your best self. Here's how Archbishop of Canterbury, Rowan Williams, put it. The act of creation can be seen as quite simply this: the vocation of things to be themselves. And to talk about God as your creator means to recognize at each moment that it is his desire for you to be the person you are. The Holy Ghost calls us to be more, not less, ourselves, teaching Peter to be more Peter, John to be more John. And this call happens when particular power is in the opportunities for grace offered by the tough things that happen to us. What about Jews? Check out the Bible. In the Old Testament, God is many things, but he is permanently a teacher. Oh, my nose. Sorry, guys. Kind of itchy there. Gotta rub it, make it shine. Of course, he's sometimes a teacher who gets so mad and disgusted that he creates a flood for 40 days and 40 nights. But we've all had teachers in schools who got easily frazzled. It doesn't mean they didn't want the best for us. So here, for example, it's God in Isaiah 57. Because of their wicked covetousness, I was angry. I struck them. I hid and was angry, but they kept turning back to their own ways. But I will heal them, whether he is in an angry or merciful mood. Everything God does is for the sake of teaching us the lessons we're needing to learn. When he talks about how he'll heal us, we're to understand, teach, and help us. In fact, the entire Old Testament is organized around the concept of God teaching us through the events in our lives. Not only is God trying to teach, but the Bible is a teaching tool. Rabbi is just the word for teacher. God is a teacher, and history, our story, is in the textbook. There is a set of traditions that has had a huge influence on spirituality of Americans today. I'm talking, of course, about the religious traditions of India, especially Hinduism and Buddhism. For thousands of years, Hinduism has seen life as a classroom. Instead of saying you're born, you live, you die. Hinduism says you're born, you learn, and you're reborn. This is the idea of samsara. Everything you do, think, and feel creates consequences or karma. The soul learns from this, progresses, and fails to learn, and is held back like a poor learner in school until it learns. Of course, at the heart of Hindu tradition is the guru, the person who turns darkness into light. The guru, in other words, is a teacher. Buddhism also emphasizes lessons that are necessary for us as we encounter the events of the world. In fact, in Buddhism, learning is key to what the soul needs to progress. All existence is bound for the 12-member chain of casualty. And the first link in this chain is ignorance. Ignorance starts the chain that binds the soul to the cycle of rebirth and suffering. Only when ignorance is overcome through learning what the events in our lives have to teach us, can we liberate ourselves from starting the cycle yet one more time, so finally achieves nirvana. You may come from a religious tradition that's different from those I've mentioned. Think about how your tradition presents a view of life as a place of learning, meditated somehow through the hand of God. What about me? How would I be able to accept the possibility that God was playing a direct role in cosmic kindergarten? Here's how. I finally worked this out. I could accept that there was some higher power behind cosmic kindergarten if this were consistent with what I know about how nature works. The fact that nature is knowable is a great gift to us. Ultimately, it's a gift of freedom. We're free to understand and act in this world, to create things, new possibilities. We're not utterly paralyzed the way we'd be by the unpredictability of an unknowable universe. Imagine if you dropped an apple and sometimes it fell down, sometimes up. You'll never be able to figure out how to make a rocket ship. Nature is knowable because it operates by the rules of physics. You think these rules would exclude God's presence? Mm-mm. Either God works within the rules and has no freedom, or God violates the rules of nature and ends our freedom, condemning us to live in an unpredictable world. Unpredictable world. Never thought of that. So it would seem impossible to have both a world that's described by the laws of nature and also a world in which God is free to operate. Free to operate. Have you thought about that? Okay. But here's what physicists have explained to me, and I appreciate their patience with someone as ignorant as of physics as I am. It turns out that God does have freedom to operate in his rule-bound universe. God does have freedom to operate in his rule-bound universe. The laws of physics doesn't cover everything. The universe contains infinite opportunities for random outcomes, and it's here that God has created his own opportunity to extend his teaching and healing hand. Some of these opportunities for God's freedom exist at the subatomic level. Quantum theory has taught us that we can only know the probabilities of subatomic events. So, for example, we can never predict the exact position or direction of an electron any more than we can predict what you'll get on the one roll of a dice. Only God can determine what actually happens given the probabilities. As the macro level, there are more opportunity for God's freedom. According to Cho's theory, small initial change can have indeterminate outcomes in large, complex systems like the flight of a butterfly, a cyclone, or a supernova. Just the way showing up for that event you've planned to skip can result in your getting a tip that leads to a new job. Here too, God has the freedom to extend his hand without breaking his own laws. Bottom line, we have a rule governed universe that is full of openings for God without his having to violate the very laws he created. Okay, listen to that. I'm going to repeat that. The bottom line, we the world, we the people, we have a rule governed universe that is full of openings for God without his having to violate the very laws he created. The universe still makes sense. We're still free to act, and God also is free to act. A cosmic kindergarten with God in it now makes sense. Last insert. A look ahead. Each of the 10 chapters discusses one of the 10 possible meanings of the events in your life. Each points to ways Cosmic Kindergarten has custom tailored a learning experience just for you. Just for you. None of the 10 reasons is more important than any other. And remember, there may be more than one reason to explain your life event. What matters is that you get what you need to become who you really are, your best self. You'll hear the stories of people who've struggled with same issues you have, But the most important story for you, of course, is your own. By the end, you'll have discovered the reasons for events in your life. A look ahead. Thank you for listening to Everything Happens for a Reason. Remember to smile.